Hello and welcome to the Kathleen Spracklin podcast. I am a teacher of Zettelkasten tonight, and we're having an interesting night tonight because I want to share a wonderful contribution from Chase Mack. And oh, what a great thing. That was such a relief, and I will share it with you in just a moment. And the balance of the video, we're going to go right to some cards and answer some specific questions. So hopefully this will clear something up for you too. And if it doesn't, add your question to the comments because I'm here to help you get your Zettelkasten up and running. And that's the purpose. So the reason I'm so diverted from my normal area of interest is because of all of the comments and questions that I'm getting from you. So if you want me to stay on Zettelkasten, let me know what you need. Because when it all goes silent, then I know you're all taken care of. Okay, from Chase Mack. Chase Mack came up with this wonderful concept, and what a relief it was. He has this idea of something called the incubator box. Now, I think I've talked to you in the past about my little working box. Yes, I have Zeke here, and I love him, but I pull cards for various projects. And I also have various slots here that I consider dump boxes. For instance, if I have an idea for my Zettelkasten course that I'm going to be teaching, I'll drop it in here. If it's an idea for a podcast or an idea for my newsletter, I can just drop them in. And this is also when I pull cards for one of those things, I put them into these slots by their categories. And so I have what I need right in front of me, and I don't have to be constantly every day pulling the cards out and putting them back within the space of a day. Now, I also have an area for filing, and it's my spot where I've got some cards that I've made up during the day, and they're all set to go. Well, this one is actually a put away card because he's already got his number. But the rest of these are cards that are all set up to be filed, except they don't have any card numbers yet. So I've got about half a dozen of them here, and I've got to find their parents, give them card numbers, and finish indexing. All of the tag phrase that's going to bring back the whole card is there. And now with the evening approaching, I need to take these cards and give them numbers and get them into my Zettelkasten. So this is my normal file box. This little collection of files, and the one put away, used to be way fat and causing me a lot of grief. I will show you how fat and what I mean. All of these cards are cards that aren't really ready to go into my Zettelkasten. Sometimes I just have an idea, sometimes just a quick reference, sometimes just a quick thought. They're not complete. And what Chase Mack came up with, which is so valuable, is the idea of a whole section in my workbox that he calls the incubator box. And this means you just drop them in here and they're not quite really ready to be filed. So why would something go into an incubator box and not be filed? One possibility might be it's just a factoid. You haven't thought about it. You haven't turned it into a dialogue or a conversation. So it's not ready to be filed yet. Maybe it's just a thought, an idea, and it didn't tie to a project I'm working on, but I don't want to lose the idea, and it's just a loose thought. It might just be dropped into this box to be decided later whether it's worth using. And there's another reason why you might want to do it, and that is if you look high and low and you haven't figured out where this card's going to go yet, and you're not even sure if you really want to add it because it's often left field compared to everything you normally do. And are you going to have any more cards on that or not? And it's hard to have a conversation going from just one card. So maybe it would go in here. So what this does for me and why I'm so happy Chase, that you recommended this idea, is this takes a load of guilt off. I have a half a dozen cards tonight that need to be put away. I don't have a half a dozen cards in a mountain of, so it really, really is valuable. I think these little spots and working areas are a lot of what makes a Zettelkasten really pop, are a lot of what makes a Zettelkasten really workable. I very much like to make my candidate main cards in the morning when I'm doing my deep reading and file them in the evening. That gap of morning to night, I can check that tagline, read the tagline. Did it bring the whole card back to me? If it didn't bring the whole card back to me, why not? Is there a better tagline that would actually capture the whole card? And if it did bring it back to me, whoa, that's great. And I get to do the indexing, which neuro imprints that tagline for me. And each time I can bring the whole card back to mind, each time I write that tagline, and it really reinforces it into my subconscious mind. This is an important thought. An important thought. It's being repeated as being an important thought. So thank you, Chase. Now, on to the Q&A, and the Q&A is going to require taking a look at some cards. So let's move on over to the down-facing camera for the Q&A. Okay, Kayla, let's start off with your first question, where you want to know what is the difference between an author card and a bib card. So here I have out some boxes, and I'll explain the regions of my box. This is my standard index here. These are my keyword indexes. You've probably seen me talk about those. Back here are my author cards. These are filed alphabetically by the name of the author. Over here are my bib cards, and all my dividers for bib cards have penciled in an R dot, which simply reminds me that this is a reference. I've recently, thank you Jay, expanded to using letters other than R dot, but let's just use R dot for now. So this group here is where all of my bib cards live. Okay, so now you know they're in two separate boxes. How do they differ? Well, let me get an author out. Okay, Kayla, so here is an example of a bib card. A bib card is the kind that you're probably the most familiar with, so I'm starting with that. This is Character Strengths and Virtues, a handbook and classification by Christopher Peterson and Martin Seligman. So I've given it a shortcut bib card abbreviation, PS for Peterson and Seligman, and then CSV for Character Strengths and Virtues. This can be really anything that you want to use to describe it. I've been using the convention of author name and then pick out some letters from the starting of the words of the title. And you won't be surprised to see a bunch of notes on the back side of the card. Now let's compare that to the author card. There's actually going to be two author cards. One of the authors, Christopher Peterson, is the principal author. And so here is the bib card name, the bib card shortcut that I've got, and just a list of the name, but there's more than one author. So there's actually a second bib card, another one for Martin Seligman. And I have two titles from Martin Seligman. This one is his book Flourish, and this one where he's co-author on Character Strengths and Virtues. So that's another advantage right there of having author cards separate from bib cards, because you can handle multiple authors. So I hope that answers your first question, the bib card and the author cards. Now to answer your second question, here is one of the bib cards on the book Character Strengths and Virtues. If we look down here at the bottom of the card, we can see that same nickname, Peterson and Seligman, Character Strengths and Virtues, and paren 5 paren, because this is the fifth bib card that I've actually used taking notes on this book. And if you look a little bit further up on the card, you'll notice that there are two places where I've indicated a number in red. This number in red tells me that this note went onto a main card. And so I can actually pull that main card. Here's that main card, 4B1B. Here's the note. Now down here, do you see this R.PS CSV5. That is the answer to your question. This way I have the note points to the card, and the card points back to the note. Still using the same example, 4B1B, you're asking about a colored card. Here it is. 4B1B, the note card in white, character leads to the good life. 4B1B, on a colored card, character leads to a good life. What is the difference between this and this? And the answer is, these are all of the cards that descended from 4B1B. 4B1B has 5 child cards that come after it, and here is the tagline to each of those 5 cards. What this enables me to do is that when I pull this card, I know that there's an active conversation around this question of character leading to the good life. And here are all of these thoughts, all about that same topic. Very interesting. And this directory card enables me to see at a glance all of the child cards of this card. Now, Scott Shepard, if you follow any of his videos, calls these branch collectives. He doesn't use them routinely, and he does not give them a different color. Instead, he gives them a different number that's very complex. I use a different color so they can have the same number. I know this isn't a main card. It's just telling me all of the children of this card. Another advantage of having this card is that I no longer have to worry about, 4 should come first. First doesn't mean anything when they're all right there at once. You don't have to worry about which one comes first. So let's take a quick look at what these cards look like. Here's 4B1B1, 4B1B2, and so on. Each of these cards are children of this particular one card that's parent to all of these. So Kayla, I hope that answered your questions. If they did not answer your questions, please comment below on this and I'll take another try at it. I'm so excited for you that your Zettelkasten is starting to become a reality. And for any of you, if you're afraid to start, don't be afraid. Get it going, and you will just be so surprised at how much energy and excitement can come out of that box of cards. I know back in the earliest days, I had my first wow connection with the third main card. 1, 2, 3. By the third main card, it was like, what? A very wonderful surprise. So get your Zettelkasten going. It pays you back in energy more than the energy it takes you to do it. And where do you ever get that? Thank you. Bye-bye.